Breaking tonight, big new questions about the district attorney in Baltimore and whether she has critically injured her own case against 6 police officers in connection with the death of Freddie Gray. Good evening and welcome to the Kelly File, where the news is breaking right now. I'm Megyn Kelly. Just hours ago, lawyers for the 6 cops charged in the death of Freddie Gray filed a motion asking that this trial be moved outside of the city of Baltimore. The defense says the officers, quote, cannot receive a fair and impartial trial in this city. And one of their primary complaints, this attorney, the DA Marylin Mosby. They argue that she has an anti-cop bias, that she has prejudiced this case with some of her very public statements, and that she should recuse herself in the interests of justice. Among the moments earning her criticism, these remarks at a Baltimore church. These are separate from the ones we've been showing you, in the days before the initial investigation was even complete.
A criminal justice system that has historically and disproportionately affected so many communities of color. And what we're seeing right now when we turn on the news and we open up the newspaper is that frustration. So we will pursue justice by any and all means necessary. Our young people, I know that they're called thugs. Those are young people crying out. There's a sense of hopelessness in this city. And there's nobody that can touch them the way that you all can. And I can't do that in my capacity right now, but I know that you all have the ability of doing it. We have work to do. We need to get out there on the streets and talk to these young people. They are not thugs.
Judge Andrew Napolitano is our Fox News senior judicial analyst. He's with us tonight. And we knew it would happen, and sure enough, it did. She is now exhibit number 1 in the defense motion to get this case kicked out of Baltimore, to get her off of this case, and they're pushing back on her request to shut them up after she made these comments, not to mention the other ones we've been playing about. This is our moment. She tries to shut them up, and the defense has come out both guns blazing tonight.
There's a couple problems here. One is the civil unrest that occurred makes it unlikely that these police officers could get a fair trial in the city of Baltimore, even if Mother Teresa were the prosecutor. But instead, you have a prosecutor who acts and sounds like she's a political candidate for office. Not an office involving the administration of justice, but an office involving the administration of the government.
Like she is running for office and she's got an agenda.
That's exactly what she sounded like in the clips you just ran. And language like that, though not unlawful and protected by the First Amendment, has the insidious and deep-seated effect of affecting the potential jurors and causing them to believe that the defendants are probably guilty. Now, if she does that herself, it is clear that there has to be a change of venue, meaning the trial has to be tried in another part of the state of Maryland, and the jurors have to be drawn from that other part of the state. The question is, can she fairly administer justice?
Because if it gets moved to another county, she is still the prosecutor.
Correct.
But she appears to be a problem. I mean, schooled and learned lawyers in the state of Baltimore are coming out using the word disbarment for this type of behavior.
I haven't seen anything that rises to disbarment, which means taking her license away forever. But I have seen behavior which would cause me, were I the judge in this case, rather than a commentator here in New York City, were I the judge in this case, I would seriously question her competence to try the case in a fair manner, because her goal is not conviction. Her goal is justice. Her goal is the correct outcome on the basis of the evidence.
And justice, what she said there was by any and all means necessary.
That's a little threatening.
Wrong, madam. Wrong. Any and all means necessary. That's what the defense does.
Correct.
They pull out every stop in the book to try to get their client acquitted. She has a greater obligation. And Judge, what she is telegraphing is, I am gonna get them.
And
I'm gonna get them.
Here's the way she wants to get them. She wants to silence defense counsel by preventing them from countering her incendiary rhetoric. Here's the way the law works. The more incendiary the government prosecutors are, the more freedom of speech defense counsel has to rebut and reject her incendiary comments. So her efforts to silence them while she is herself on a campaign soapbox are making it impossible for the judge even to address this issue. This is fair game. Fair game at her and fair game for defense counsel to say whatever they want about the case to the public.
So what are the odds now that they really will pursue or get a change of venue, at least getting it out of Baltimore? Because even if the judge does not think that her comments warrant her being kicked off the case, he or she will have to see how she has poisoned the jury pool she wanted to try this case in front of.
If she were a serious trial lawyer, she would have made the motion for a change of venue herself, or she would join in the change of venue. Because the worst case scenario for her is a conviction in Baltimore and then a reversal by an appellate court because of the prejudice that she personally caused, and the appellate court ordering the trial judge to prevent her from trying it a second time. So if she knows her stuff, she'll be happy to send this case to Annapolis or some other place in Maryland where they have an inner city, but not one that's prejudiced by her words and by the Baltimore events.
And not one where the murder rate is suddenly skyrocketing and the arrest rate is falling precipitously as well. Judge, good to see you.
Likewise.
Well, the controversy over this DA, Marylin Mosby, got more heated this afternoon when a report surfaced suggesting that she had favorited a tweet on Twitter that referred to these 6 police officers as, quote, thugs, that she was expressing her like of that tweet by favoriting it. The report also showed a tweet that had Ms. Mosby expressing support for a message talking about how this case, quote, infuriates, in all caps, a certain kind of white person. This could obviously be prejudicial, so we called her office this afternoon because it clearly showed the screen grab that she had favorited it. So we asked directly, what is the story? Did she do it? They denied to the Kelly File that the DA had in fact favorited those tweets, saying to us, quote, both Mosby's official Twitter account and her personal account were hacked. They went on to say, quote, we do not know how long it's been going on. We are working with Twitter. Joining me now, Kimberly Guilfoyle, who is co-host of The Five and author of the brand new book, Making the Case, How to Be Your Own Best Advocate. Okay, so great to see you, first of all.
Great to see you.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
So she's denying that she did it, and her account was hacked later this month by somebody, appears to be some foreign national. However, this is early May. This is, I think, May 6th, and it was just 2 favorites. I don't know what the true story is, Kimberly, but clearly this DA has made enough statements that she is out way ahead of her skis.
She absolutely is, and as a former prosecutor and trying high-profile cases like I did in San Francisco, like the dog mauling case, I encountered a case that had an incredible, intense national and international publicity. We did not oppose the change of venue for the very reasons the judge was discussing. You want that case to stand on appeal. She has really gone out of her way to, I believe, poison that jury pool in a way that I believe is highly improper and unethical.
So you think this is intentional? This is just not just an inexperienced woman with an agenda. She's trying to poison.
This is an activist, in my opinion. The comments that she made, I was so appalled and taken aback because I take the job that I did as a prosecutor very seriously. It is to seek justice, because justice is supposed to be blind. She's supposed to be an impartial evaluator of the facts of the case. I felt that there really was a rush here to get this indictment out. The fact of the matter is they have a second-degree charge for implied malice murder. Is very difficult to get. So she better have the facts and circumstances to back it up, or she's going to have a Rodney King situation on her hand if she does not deliver, because I believe she's overpromised.
Let me talk to you about this, because this plays right into your book, Making the Case. You, like Ms. Mosby, young, beautiful, smart, talented attorney, get a job at the DA's office. She's a state's attorney. And it's an opportunity for a young woman to earn her stripes, be taken seriously. You know, a lot of young women, I can speak to this myself, coming out of law school, I want to be taken seriously. I'm sure you felt it. She likely feels it. And yet you have to understand where the limits are. When you make the case, especially as a prosecutor, there are limits to what you can say and what you can do. And Ms. Mosby comes out, and here's the soundbite that we've been playing over and over about this is a moment where she gins up the young people in the city who have been out there protesting, who she defended as not thugs, despite the fact that they were burning people's homes down. And here's what she said.
To the people of Baltimore and the demonstrators across America, I heard your call for no justice, no peace. Your peace is sincerely needed as I work to deliver justice on behalf of this young man. To the youth of this city, I will seek justice on your behalf. This is a moment. This is your moment. Let's ensure that we have peaceful and productive rallies that will develop structural and systemic changes for generations to come. You're at the forefront of this cause. And as young people, our time is now.
I mean, it's really a call to arms. If you didn't know what her title was and what her position, and you just listened to her rhetoric and her language, you would think that you were listening to someone like Al Sharpton, someone that was the head of an organization that wanted to get their voice and name out there to get some kind of recognition
you had the opportunity
for the cause.
to do this. You tried this. Well, I first saw you when you were trying the Dog Mullen case back in the day. You're this young DA making a name for herself.
Sure.
To be so incendiary and have no understanding of the power you have as a district attorney. And you talk about this in the book about, how to be your own best advocate. She's not helping herself. She's not helping her case. You talk in this book about how people can make their own cases, and forget Marylin Mosby, how you can be more like a Kimberly Guilfoyle and get yourself ahead in whatever job you're doing without sacrificing your obligations, your professional obligations.
Absolutely. You have to be a person of principle and ethics and integrity. And that's why the job that I did as a prosecutor, I took very seriously. I went out of my way to make sure that I didn't do anything that would create bias or prejudice in the case. I wanted the case to be tried by those jurors. That's what the victims deserve, and that's what defendants deserve.
So why did you write the book? Because I saw you on the 5 yesterday, and it was a great piece that we talked about. You when you were a young attorney, and they had all the great pictures of you, and I remember you on CNN and seeing you then, and you were obviously a future star, and now you are this huge star. So why did you write this? Because this was a really tough decision, because it wasn't something I said, I want to write a book, but so many people said, I wish you would tell your story, or parents would come up to me and said, I'm inspired by you. I've told my son or daughter to read about you so that they can learn to make good choices in their life and to fight for what they believe in, be passionate, do something that when you wake up in the morning you believe in. But this didn't come easy, meaning the path that I ended up in, sitting here across from you, just like your path, getting into that chair, and the job that we do that is so important. I wanted people to understand that you have it within you. If you believe in yourself, you can passionately advocate for what you want. Nobody is going to hand it to you. I don't believe in the entitlement thing. Get out there, work hard, do a job you believe in, and when you're working as an intern or anything like that, try something out, and then you can decide if you're passionate about it, and you'll likely succeed. Kimberly lost her mother at a young age. She was raised by her single dad, who loved her so much. You lost him too a couple of years ago, which was a very sad moment, but you made it. You became First Lady of San Francisco. Yes. You have a beautiful boy now who you're raising, and a great career to show for it. I have no right to say this, but I'm very proud of you. Oh, I'm very proud of you. We're fearless women, we're courageous, and we help each other out, and I think that's very important. Good luck, love. All right, making the case. Here it is, and you can see all the great pictures of Kimberly. As I said last night, she was always this beautiful. It's really kind of ridiculous, but I love her anyway. Sweet. Also breaking on this story tonight, we will show you next what happened between Fox News and the Baltimore mayor that led to this.
If you'd like to ask a question and give me an opportunity to answer it, we can do this. Otherwise, I'll end the conference.
Dana Lash is here on that. Plus, she'll have the story of how the White House also added to this controversy when it was asked about the recent surge in violent crime. Breaking tonight, Baltimore's mayor also facing some tough new questions about her leadership as her city grapples with some historic levels of violence. 36 people have now been murdered in just the month of May. And here's what happened when our own Leland Vittert challenged the mayor just hours ago.
Is that because the police are doing less?
So, as I said before, there are a lot of reasons why.
Is that one of them?
We're examining all of those.
Arrests are down 50%.
Can you please let her finish?
I'm not 100% sure what you're doing. This is a very orderly press conference that we normally held. Your tactics
I'm just asking a question.
You're not. You're being rude, just as you were before. So if you'd like to ask a question and give me an opportunity to answer it, we can do this. Otherwise, I'll end the conference.
Questions about all the bloodshed in Baltimore have also reached the White House, where the Obama administration was ready to lay blame on gun control.
What is the thought of the White House about what happened this weekend, and what will help turn the situation around?
Obviously there's some common sense things that we can do. Certainly, passage of some gun safety laws in Congress that could keep guns out of the hands of criminals would be one thing that we could do to try to limit the violence.
Dana Lash is author of Hands Off My Gun and host of Dana on the Blaze TV. I mean,
yeah.
Listen, I take no position on gun control at all, but you look at the stats on Maryland, and that's clearly not the issue.
No, you're right, Megan. And instead of Josh and us talking about, well, just some common sense things that we could pass in Congress, how about having a mayor that says she's not giving safe spaces for criminal activity? How about the White House and all of these other elected officials not coming down on the police, trying to delegitimize the police force? Look, Maryland has some of the strictest gun control laws in the country. And they just passed even more a couple of years ago. It's not gun control. It's a lack of leadership. It is a system of corruption. That is the problem.
The one step Maryland could take at this point to be tougher is to ban all guns. They're one step away from banning all guns. The NRA hates Maryland. The anti-gun people love Maryland. And still in Maryland, the problem is lack of gun control, according to the White House.
Well, yes, I mean, and that's exactly right. They're just 1 inch away from banning everything outright. And in fact, Megan, they've banned somewhere around 80 different firearms already. If you want to just go and rent a handgun and go to a range and practice your marksmanship, you have to have a license. There's a 7-day waiting period. There's a 10-round mag ban. That's you can only have 10 rounds in your magazine at any given time. It is incredibly strict. It's very difficult to even get a license. We have friends in Maryland that said it's, the stuff that you have to go through just to be able to exercise your Second Amendment is nuts. And here's the other thing, Megan. These people act like there isn't online a place where you can go and see who's committed crimes. The people who commit gun crimes, the people who are killing other people with firearms, are over 98% of the time repeat offenders, people who should not even carry firearms in the first place. Now, these criminal statistics are available in every state. They're available for Maryland, too. And if you have the reading comprehension of a normal human being, you can go and you can see the answers for yourself.
I mean, we looked it up because we have that comprehension, and we tried.
They don't.
And in 2010, after the Gabby Gifford shooting in Tucson, the Daily Beast compiled a list of the most armed stations in the nation. Maryland was one of the least armed. It ranked 45 out of 51. This was before those 2013 gun measures were enacted that you were talking about, that after Sandy Hook, you have to submit fingerprints to state police to get a handgun, bans 45 types of assault weapons, limits the gun magazines, limits access to the mentally ill, mandatory waiting periods, restrictions on personal sales. So you tell me what this is about as we see the mayor take umbrage at Leland Vittert asking the question we're all asking, which is what's with the murder rate? Is it because the cops are ticked? And the White House saying what we really need is more gun laws.
Right, and those were just 40 extra firearms that they banned. I was surprised, Megan, that Al Sharpton didn't appear out of the ether to try to block Leland from asking the mayor a question, because it seems that that's kind of his role now.
It's like the mayor is an elected official. Guess what, Ms. Mayor? We get to press you on questions, and if we don't think we're getting answers,
she has to answer questions.
Sometimes we get rude and we interrupt. That's what the press does, or it at least normally does.
They're supposed to have an antagonizing role towards elected officials. I mean, if they're not supposed to, who does? That's the media's job, the watchdog for the people. This really, though, Megan, all of this, from the mayor, from the White House, from all of their surrogates, this is an attempt to deflect blame. They realize that all of the delegitimizing of police, all of the bad talking about them, running down cops' morale. There have been cops speaking out in Baltimore saying, we don't have any energy anymore. They're killing us out here. So, yeah, obviously arrest her down. They're seeing that this has backfired, and now they need to they're going to bring out the boogeyman. They're going to bring out gun control. That's their answer every single time, and they're going to say that's the problem here. No, maybe if you don't trash the cops that are trying to do their job and keep people safe, maybe if you run your city better, this wouldn't be a problem.
She's so worried about a news reporter's alleged rudeness. If only she had been equally worried about the behavior we saw on the streets of Baltimore in the wake of the Freddie Gray killing. Good to see you, Dana.
Maybe she can give Leland a safe space. Thanks, Megan.
It's like, spare the lectures.